or the public at this time while the investigations are ongoing. So again, that is Terrell Butler, Bahamian attorney, apparently retained by Brian Hooker, as he is in limbo at this point. And again, it's early in the day on Thursday. It's just before 12 noon, Thursday, April 9th. So by day's end, who knows if there'll be charges or not. But, it took 4 days before an investigation was even opened. And it didn't happen right away with the Bahamians. It happened with the U.S. Coast Guard. Last night, late, I had to rush back and redo the top of the podcast because everything I'd done all day, the recording, had no investigation on day 4. And this is day 5 today. And late in the evening, the U.S. Coast Guard in the Bahamas opened its own investigation. And then today we learned that there is this criminal investigation. In fact, I think late last night, we learned that he was being detained. No criminal charges yet, but that there is this local criminal investigation that's ongoing. So here now is my conversation with Carly Aylesworth, Lynette Hooker's daughter. And, she's had a very long night. She's exhausted. She's talked to the press. She's talked to the authorities. She's talked to the U.S. Coast Guard. They're helping to liaise with her. She's talked to the U.S. Embassy. So this has been a living hell. So I'm very appreciative that she gave me this time. But here's our conversation. Carly, what is the latest that you've heard from the Bahamian authorities or the U.S. Coast Guard?
I heard from my lawyer that it turned into a criminal investigation last night. And last I knew, he got a lawyer in the Bahamas to represent him.
Has Brian made any overtures to you other than that initial voicemail and email that he sent?
He sent me some texts, and he has called a couple times, but otherwise, no.
And when he called, were you able to answer the phone? Did you have a conversation with him?
No, I did not. I just let it go to voicemail.
And what effectively did he say in those texts and voicemails?
Just that he wants to be there for Rosie and I, his other daughter, and that he's doing what he can to look for her.
Were you able to ask him any questions back, meaning what happened, lay it out for me, sort of get him on the record saying what he says happened to your mom?
When he called me Sunday night, I was still in shock when he was talking to me, so I didn't really say much. I just said, okay. It's just trying to process that. He tried to say that he was going to come up and visit and he would like to see us, but I didn't respond to that, and then he quickly got off the phone.
And this is like 24 hours after your mom had disappeared, right? That he made this first contact with you?
Yeah. I just know it was about 20 miles per hour winds, and it was about 3 knots, the tide was.
But not roiling seas and rain and thunder and lightning. It wasn't a storm of any kind.
Yeah, no. I don't believe they would go out in a storm like that anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, the whole thing just seems very odd. What I have seen comments about Brian's temper in the past, things that you've witnessed. Can you tell me things that you've seen with regard to Brian's temper?
He gets away with his emotions sometimes. I've seen him do stuff to his daughter out of anger. And now I'm worried that it's happened to my mom, and it's something that he can't undo.
Have you ever seen him be violent with your mom?
I've heard stories from her, but I haven't seen it with her. I have seen it happen with his daughter. The same stuff that she describes happened to her.
And can you tell me what you saw with Brian and his daughter?
They were talking about something religious because she's super religious and he's an atheist, and she ran off, and then he followed her and grabbed her by the neck and was like, "Say yes, sir," to her in her face. And then we had to go to court for that, and I was a witness.
How old was she?
Like around 12. I was in 3rd grade. And
So
she's a little older.
she was a child when this happened.
Mhm.
And what was the outcome?
They stopped coming over. I don't know if he was charged with anything, but I just know that Jesse and Jake stopped coming over after that.
These are his two kids.
Yes, out of three. He has a third one too.
And does he have a relationship with those kids now?
He does with one of them, but Jesse, he does not talk to.
Since that incident?
Basically, yeah.
How old is she now?
30 something.
So it's been an estranged relationship with his own kids all these years.
Yeah.
Does he speak with the other two kids?
He speaks with Jacob over FaceTime sometimes, and then Rosie, yes, he talks to Rosie.
And is it Rosie who is in the Bahamas now?
She wants to go to the Bahamas, yes. She's in Lowell.
And have you been speaking with those siblings about what's happened?
I've talked to Rosie, yeah.
What does Rosie think?
She doesn't want to believe that her own dad would do that, which I understand. It's pretty hard for me too to even wrap my head around this, but she just was gonna go down there to support him to help look. But I even mentioned, like, I don't know if that's a good idea right now to get into this mess.
Do his kids have any suspicions about what happened, though?
I haven't talked to Jacob, but there is some speculation right now as to what actually happened.
What do they think?
That's he didn't do the best he can to look for her.
Do they think that Brian intentionally pushed Lynette overboard?
They have a suspicion that something could have happened, but they don't want to say, like, for sure, because that's their dad.
Yeah. What do you think happened?
I think either she did actually fall off and he just was like, oh, well, look at all that life insurance, and just paddled away, or he pushed her out and she was unconscious or something. I don't know.
You mentioned life insurance. Do you have any idea what the policy, or if they have a life insurance policy?
I have no idea, but I'm assuming she does from her retirement.
Do you think that Brian had any intention of leaving your mom? Had they talked about separation, or had they been having marital difficulties?
They've talked about separating before, and the last time they were together, he did choke her out and threaten to kill her and throw her overboard. So the fact that this is happening 2 years later is a little bit like, how can we not be suspicious when you've already said that this was going to happen?
Did your mom confide in her mom, your grandmother, specific incidents, anything that had happened between her and Brian?
Yeah, she mostly confided in my grandma.
And do you know what she told your grandma?
Just that they've been fighting more often lately, especially when they've been drinking, and that it's embarrassing for other people to see. And she has mentioned that it's not safe to be with him.
She told your grandmother it's not safe to be with Brian?
I don't remember where I read that, but she has said that to one of her friends, at least.
And what, can you expand on that? What did she mean by it's not safe?
I'm guessing just when he starts drinking, he gets a little bit more, he gets different, and she did complain about him, how he acts when he drinks. He just gets more, like, smart-assy and feistier, I guess. So, yeah.
Did she ever tell your grandmother or any of her friends specific things that had happened?
Just about, I think that she's told them more than what she's told me. But I do know that there's, like, a picture of bruises all over her back from one of her friends. And she mostly tells my grandma all of that stuff.
Do you have that picture of your mom with bruises?
No, I don't.
Who has that picture?
One of her friends in Jackson.
And is that something that you're going to forward to the Royal Bahamian Police as part of their investigation?
I believe they did, yeah, to the Coast Guard.
Did your mom say that the bruises were from Brian?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But do you know for sure?
I don't know 100%, no.
But her friend, your mom's friend, told you that the picture exists?
She told my grandma, which told me.
Right, right. Has anyone in your family ever suggested to your mom that she leave Brian?
Yes, multiple times. Every time she leaves him, we don't want her to go back, but she always goes back.
How many times has she left him?
I know for sure of 2 times. One when I was in high school and one 2 years ago. But I'm sure there's been more times.
What are the
I don't.
circumstances of her leaving him? Like what precipitated it, do you know?
The just when he choked her out, that's what made her leave last time.
So the final time was when he allegedly choked out your mom. What about the time before that?
That was in high school. She didn't tell me why. She just was in my room crying when she told me.
And what did she say?
Just that they're gonna get a divorce.
She had talked about divorce beforehand? Did she say what his reaction was?
No, I just know that he was crying downstairs because I heard him crying.
Brian was crying in the house after your mom told him she was leaving? Was he angry?
Not that I know of.
Were there any other times other than these 2 times that you know of that your mom may have tried to leave Brian?
No, not for certain.
And they were retired, right? And so did they have plenty of money? Were there any financial struggles or issues between your mom and Brian? Did Brian have any debts? Was there anything that you can think of that would give some motive?
Not that I know of. I do think she has life insurance out from being retired from AT&T. I know he doesn't have any retirement from AT&T, so I don't know how good he's sitting. But do know that last time they broke up, my mom told me that she's better when they're together financially, but when they're apart, she's gonna have to work if they broke up, and she was gonna try to work at the post office.
She had actually talked about having to get a job at the post office to live separately from him? When was that?
2 years ago.
And so do you feel that your mom was financially pressured to stay with Brian against her will?
Probably not.
But she mentioned to you that she's financially stronger when she's with him, and if she's not with him, she would have to get a job and come out of retirement. Was there retirement to be on the boat and sail around the world, or were they just on a visit to the boat?
Their plan was to stay on the boat and travel around.
So they were living on the Soulmate yacht,
Yeah,
a 55-foot yacht?
something around there, yeah.
Did they sell their belongings back at home?
Yep,
So that was their home. I mean, there was nowhere for your mom to go. If she wanted to get off the yacht, she didn't have another home to go to.
exactly.
Did she ever tell your mom that it was a mistake, that she wished she hadn't gotten on the yacht,
Probably.
but didn't mention anything to you?
I do have text saying that she sold everything to be living this dream and now has to leave it or something like that. She sent text messages to my friend or one of her work friends about it.
So tell me a little bit more about those texts.
Thank you. Right here. Nothing but fighting since we bought the boat. Then he started turning to insults, so I packed my stuff and left. I'm in Florida visiting the parents. This was in 2022. Yeah, that's basically.
Are there any other texts like that?
She said it's something I probably should have done 15 years ago, was to leave him. Um, yeah, that's basically it.
Who are these texts to?
Her name's Corey.
Is that a friend?
She used to be a friend, yeah, a work friend. I don't know if they're still close, but I know they were at one time.
And these were texts that Corey sent you
Yeah.
in light of everything that's happened?
Hmm.
Were there any other texts that they sent? Her friends? Or your
No,
mom? Or your grandmother? Did your grandmother have any text messages from your mom?
probably, but I don't have them.
And are you in regular communication with your grandmother about everything that's happened?
Hmm. I've talked to her every day since.
If you had a message for Brian, if he was watching this, what would you want to say to him?
I'm sorry this is happening. I really hope that it was an accident. I hope you understand that I just want to know the truth of what happened because a missing person is a big deal, especially since it's my mom. I just hope this was an accident and everything will be okay, I guess.
Do you think that he killed your mom?
It's not a, it's not a possibility, but yeah, probably.
Intentionally?
I don't know if it was intentional or his anger got the best of him, but I feel like there is a possibility that something could have happened.
I just want to ask Lindsay, who's on the other end right now, if there's anything that I've missed, if there's anything I should ask you that I haven't asked you. Yeah, yeah. Did they have a group of friends that were in the Bahamas, or were they just by themselves? Were there anybody around that they spent time with?
Not that I know of. I do know they have some boat friends, but I don't know where they're located.
So not necessarily in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Right, right. And Carly, is there anything that I haven't asked you, or something that I don't know, or that nobody knows at this point, but that you'd like to say?
Not right now, no.
And anything in the history between your mom and Brian that I haven't asked you about, you haven't mentioned yet, something that comes to mind that is important to this whole situation?
Um, just any support for my family right now would be greatly appreciated.
Did you ever fear that Brian would do something like this to your mom?
I feared that he would hurt her in some way, but I never would have thought that this would have happened.
You thought the worst it would be was maybe more bruises, but not something this serious?
Yeah.
And given the history and the text messages, the pictures, the concerns that your mom even had about staying with him, do you now think, in retrospect, it's possible something did happen, that maybe he did do something terribly, terribly bad to your mom?
I have a feeling, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Carly, I am thinking of you and I'm hoping the best for you and your family. And please know that we're praying for your mom and for you and for the rest of your family as well. Thank you for talking to us today, and I hope we can continue the conversation.
Yeah, no problem, thank you.
Lynette Hooker and Brian Hooker seemed to live the ultimate retirement dream. The Michigan couple had spent more than a decade sailing together, documenting their adventures on social media with sun-soaked photos, snorkeling trips, and scenic sunsets. Their 55-foot yacht, proudly named Soulmate, symbolized their shared passion for the open water. For Lynette, a vibrant 55-year-old with years of sailing experience, life at sea offered freedom and escape. She was described by her daughter as a strong swimmer and capable boater who thrived in that world. The couple had been navigating the beautiful Abaco Islands in the Bahamas, a popular destination for cruisers seeking crystal-clear waters and peaceful anchorages. On Saturday, April 4, 2026, they were enjoying time near Hope Town. As evening approached around 7:30 p.m., they climbed into their small 8-foot rubber-bottomed dinghy to make the short trip back to the anchored Soulmate. The plan was simple: a quick ride across the calm stretch toward Elbow Key. What happened next would shatter that peaceful image forever. According to Brian's account to authorities, while operating the dinghy, Lynette fell overboard. He said she was holding the engine's kill switch key, the safety lanyard, which caused the motor to cut off instantly when she went into the water. Strong currents allegedly carried her away into the darkness, and despite his efforts, he lost sight of her. Left powerless, Brian claimed he drifted for nearly 9 hours, paddling with limited means until he finally reached land around 4 a.m. the next morning to raise the alarm. To the outside world, it sounded like a tragic boating accident, the kind that can happen in unpredictable seas, especially at night. The Bahamas, waters can be deceptively calm one moment and swift the next. Brian later expressed heartbreak in a public statement, calling it a terrible accident caused by high winds and rough conditions that made his beloved Lynette fall from the small dinghy. But from the very beginning, not everyone accepted the story at face value. Back in the United States, Lynette's daughter Carly Aylesworth received the devastating news and immediately felt something was off. As someone who had watched her mother's relationship with Brian over the years, Carly began questioning the timeline, the physical details of the fall, and why it took so long for help to be called. Little did she know that her doubts would soon open a door into years of hidden struggles. The soulmate had once represented love and adventure. Now, it stood as a silent witness to a night that would spark intense scrutiny, family pain, and a criminal investigation. What really happened in those dark hours on the water? The answers, if they come, may lie not just in the sea, but in the untold story of a marriage that had grown increasingly stormy long before that fateful dinghy ride. Like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth true crime stories that uncover the hidden truths behind shocking disappearances. We dive deeper into the investigative doubts and the physical impossibilities raised by Carly and others. Don't miss it. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on this developing case. As news of Lynette Hooker's disappearance spread, the initial narrative of a tragic boating accident began to unravel under scrutiny. Brian Hooker told authorities that around 7:30 p.m. on April 4, 2026, while returning from Elbow Key to their 55-foot yacht soulmate in their small 8-foot rubber dinghy, Lynette fell overboard. He claimed she was holding the kill switch lanyard attached to the engine, causing it to cut off instantly. Powerful currents then carried her away into the night, and he was left drifting helplessly for nearly 9 hours before reaching land to call for help. From the start, experienced boaters and Lynette's family found the account difficult to accept. The dinghy was tiny and slow-moving, barely suited for nighttime travel in potentially choppy conditions. Experts noted that bouncing out of such a low-profile vessel during a casual ride seemed highly unlikely, especially for Lynette, a seasoned sailor with over a decade of experience who was described as fit and confident on the water. The kill switch mechanism added another layer of skepticism. How could she accidentally pull the key while falling? And why would that lead to such a prolonged, powerless drift without immediate distress signals? Lynette's daughter, Carly Aylesworth, quickly became a vocal voice of doubt. In emotional interviews, Carly pointed out physical inconsistencies. The small dinghy's stability made an accidental overboard fall improbable without significant force or external factors. She also questioned the timeline, 9 hours adrift in waters near popular cruising routes, yet no other vessels reportedly spotted them or heard calls for help. Bahamian authorities, working alongside the U.S. Coast Guard, began examining AIS tracking data from the soulmate, which appeared to confirm Brian followed a path consistent with his story, but raised new concerns about what exactly happened during those unexplained hours. Public interest exploded as details leaked. Friends of the couple described the dinghy as underpowered and undersized for the conditions that night. Meanwhile, Carly shared that she had been monitoring the boat's movements remotely and found the lack of any proactive search efforts during the drift deeply troubling. Why paddle silently for hours instead of using flares, a VHF radio, or even shouting in an area frequented by other mariners? These mounting questions transformed the case from a simple accident into a full investigation. Brian maintained his innocence, expressing profound grief and cooperating with police. Yet the doubts refused to fade. The calm waters of the Abaco Islands had suddenly become the stage for intense speculation, with every detail of Brian's account dissected by armchair detectives and maritime experts alike. Behind the scenes, Carly's private pain fueled her determination to push for answers. She refused to let her mother's story end as a footnote in boating safety statistics. Little did she know that her next revelations would shift the focus from the sea to the troubled relationship that had played out for years before that fateful night. Like, share, and subscribe for more raw, unfiltered true-life stories that expose the hidden realities behind viral mysteries. We delve into the volatile marriage, past domestic issues, and the explosive text messages that paint a darker picture. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next installment of this developing tragedy. While the world focused on the mysterious circumstances of Lynette Hooker's disappearance at sea, her daughter Carly Aylesworth opened a painful window into the private life the couple had carefully curated on social media. To followers, Brian and Lynette appeared as the ideal sailing duo, sun-kissed photos, adventurous voyages, and the romantic yacht named Soulmate. But according to Carly, the reality was far stormier, marked by years of tension that had escalated dangerously. Carly described her mother's 25-year marriage to Brian as rocky at best. She revealed documented attempts by Lynette to leave the relationship, including periods of separation followed by reconciliations. Heavy drinking was reportedly a recurring issue, contributing to volatile arguments. In one particularly harrowing disclosure, Carly pointed to text messages from 2022 in which Lynette confided that since purchasing the boat, their life together had become nothing but fighting. Those messages, shared in exclusive interviews, captured a woman expressing exhaustion and fear, hinting at emotional strain that had intensified once they committed fully to the nomadic sailing lifestyle. Past domestic incidents also surfaced. Records showed that in 2015, Lynette had been arrested following an alleged assault, though accounts from both sides differed sharply at the time. Carly emphasized that her mother was a strong, independent woman who had sold her Michigan home years earlier to fully embrace life aboard the Soulmate. Yet she had repeatedly voiced concerns about the relationship to close family, describing cycles of conflict that left her feeling trapped despite her love for the sea. These revelations cast Brian's account of the dinghy incident in a new, more sinister light. Carly openly questioned whether the accident aligned with her mother's experienced seamanship. A capable swimmer and boater, Lynette was unlikely to simply lose balance in a slow-moving dinghy, especially while handling the kill switch. The 9-hour drift, the delayed call for help, and the absence of immediate emergency signals only deepened family suspicions. As Bahamian police searched the Soulmate and questioned Brian, Carly launched a GoFundMe titled "Help Find and Honor My Missing Mom" to fund her travel to the Bahamas and support potential search and recovery efforts. The page quickly gained attention, with donors rallying around the call for transparency and justice. Brian's attorney has strongly denied any wrongdoing, insisting his client is devastated and fully cooperating. Yet the combination of physical doubts about the fall digital tracking data leaving gaps in behavior explanation, and now the history of alleged abuse has turned public opinion sharply. Investigators are reportedly considering serious charges, with the case shifting from missing person to potential foul play. For Carly, the fight is personal. She wants the world to see beyond the polished sailing posts to the woman who dreamed of freedom, but may have found herself in a relationship that became increasingly controlling and contentious. The turquoise waters that once promised adventure now hold painful secrets, and the soulmate yacht stands as a silent reminder of dreams that may have soured into nightmare. Like, share, and subscribe if you want the full, uncensored truth in true crime cases like this one. We'll explore the latest developments, including Brian's arrest, the police search of the yacht, and what the digital evidence really shows. Hit like, share this with someone who loves mystery stories, and subscribe with notifications on. The investigation is still unfolding. As the search for Lynette Hooker intensified, Carly Aylesworth's doubts grew louder. She revealed even darker details. Brian had allegedly threatened in the past to throw her mother overboard during arguments. A chilling voicemail from Brian to Carly mentioned that authorities had recovered the flotation device he claimed to have thrown to Lynette, yet no sign of her mother had been found. Carly also shared old text messages and a voice note where Lynette described their life on the Soulmate as constant fighting since buying the boat. Digital evidence added fuel to the fire. AIS tracking from the yacht showed Brian followed the general path he described, but investigators questioned the 9-hour drift in busy cruising waters near Elbow Key. Why no immediate radio calls, flares, or shouts for help from a well-traveled area? Friends of the couple pointed out that the tiny 8-foot rubber dinghy was underpowered and ill-suited for nighttime conditions, making an accidental bounce overboard highly unlikely for an experienced sailor like Lynette. On April 8, 2026, Bahamian police arrested 59-year-old Brian Hooker in Marsh Harbor as a suspect. During a search of the Soulmate that same evening, Brian, while handcuffed, lost his balance and fell overboard himself in choppy waters, requiring rescue. His attorney insists he is innocent, fully cooperating, and devastated by the tragic accident. Brian has denied any wrongdoing, calling it a heartbreaking incident caused by high winds and strong currents. The U.S. Coast Guard has now opened its own criminal investigation. Carly launched the GoFundMe, Help Find and Honor My Missing Mom, to cover her travel to the Bahamas and support search or recovery efforts. As the 96-hour detention window ticks, authorities continue examining phones, laptops, and the yacht for clues. No body has been recovered yet, and the case remains open. What began as a dream sailing life on the Soulmate has become a nightmare of suspicion, old domestic tensions, and unanswered questions about that dark night in the Abaco Islands. Like, share, and subscribe for more gripping true-life crime stories that expose what really happens behind the perfect social media facade. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next update on this developing case or future chapters. What do you think really happened? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.